Aw,
What's
thank
up,
you.
Armani? Welcome.
Yeah. Aw. Wow.
All right. Are we gonna ground to the stage, or are we gonna float above the stage?
What would you like?
You tell
I
us.
think we should just stick
Yeah.
on the stage and not complicate everything.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
You guys? Okay.
Yeah.
Is he lurking?
Get rid of the flight plan stuff.
Hi, I can't see who that is. Who's there? Oh, hi.
I'm right here. Like your outfit there.
Okay. I think we should start. We don't want to drag on too long. 5:07.
Last year I know we.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet.
Seemed like
Yeah.
Let's rock.
Okay.
sitting here all the time.
Yeah, we have some really good color coordination with the purple and the red going on here.
I think we planned this.
Oh, yeah.
We planned
Did
this.
you plan it?
I got the limo.
Yeah. No.
Great.
No,
Great.
no, not at all.
I've been a little twerky, I think.
Just happened like that.
Hey, sir.
Okay. No, everyone remember to turn your megaphones on. I guess you are all seasoned vets with this. But do I have to hit
Okay.
How's the
like
audio choppy right now?
on air? Do I have to hit on air or anything?
Talk here, so.
I don't
Here.
think
The
so.
audio's like really
There's
choppy.
other rooms.
Yeah, I don't think
Mine
there's any
is,
other
or
rooms
you-
yet. Just one room, 31 people in here. Still got room for
Okay.
19 more.
Evo is showing me around.
Hi.
If anyone wants to invite guests last minute, feel free to do that.
I also
Yeah,
work
audio's so
with
choppy right
plurality,
now.
so,
Mine is,
I
or-
wouldn't say it's an either-or problem.
Everything.
Boy.
I went to Singularity University, and I am
I have my
a
eyes on the
singularity
rooms too.
skeptic because
so
I
you
do
know,
believe in
my eyes on the
plurality.
rooms.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm watching it.
Keep an eye on that troublemakers. Okay.
Sweet.
I just took a selfie. That's like woo. There you go.
Okay, well, let's get
Taking
this show on the
stage
road.
selfies. Okay.
Wait.
Not so big on the small talk.
Carlos, are you ready? Yes.
Yeah.
Emojis from the drones means we're ready to go.
Cool.
Okay, everybody. We want to call everybody forward and ask for your focus and attention. Let's all first take a moment to just quiet our minds down and be still and breathe in slowly. Ground in the present moment. And also take a moment to just look around and acknowledge everyone in this space. If there's any nervousness inside of your body, just try to feel it and relax with it and relax into this experience and into yourself and into the present moment. All right. So much gratitude to be here right now with you. So greetings, friends, sages, healers, artists, futurists, spiritual seekers. Wherever you are located in the spectrum of the many shades of spirituality, religion, or new aginess, wherever you are physically based in this wild world, we want to take a moment and welcome you to the Solar Shrine. This is a very special corner of the metaverse, and this is a unique community discussion on the ever fascinating topic of spirituality and technology. We're going to especially be talking about immersive technology since we are all avatars wearing goggles or sitting on our computers in a virtual reality simulation. So we are so glad that you are here to take this deep dive with us today so we can explore further concepts in our personal relationship with and the community's perspective on spirituality. Whether you call it religion, science, Scientology, Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, also known as Pastafarianism. We respect your own unique journey, and we will be opening up the discussion to the community. You can raise your hand periodically 20 to 30 minutes down from our panel discussion by using your raise a hand toggle button in your user interface, or put your hand on your head. So let me give an introduction. So, you know, we live in this proclaimed digital age, and so many of us grapple with the irony of the promises of technology as we simultaneously struggle and thrive, right? So many of us are interested in cutting edge tools that not only make our lives simpler and grow our businesses, but can also potentially accelerate our consciousness and develop our spiritual and emotional strength. But so much of this technology has truly been a double-edged sword, so to speak. So how do we proceed wisely and gracefully into such a complex future that's unfolding before our eyes, while we can still stay in touch with our humanity and not forgetting about the real world, real life, and our connection and responsibility to the natural world with our animal myth, right? Can we have tribal experiences in VR? I think we can. But are we floating off into disconnection? Or can we find a balance between the organic and the synthetic experience? As we witness terrifying acts of global destruction along with almost miracle-like advancements to assist us, what can we do to protect ourselves? How can we help others along this path? And when do we stop things from going too far, right? Anyway, here to help us take a deeper look at some of these conundrums and these existential dilemmas are our amazing panelist speakers that have so graciously come to us today and agreed to be a part of this discussion to inspire you. So first I'm going to introduce Artsy in red here with the heart emoji. So Artsy is an incredibly talented 3D artist, interior designer, world builder, founder of LexXR, which is a virtual reality asset store, and a highly prominent alt space community leader. Many of you know her and love her. She also has a nonprofit healing practice called the Spirit Garden, where she teaches and coaches men and women how to release trapped emotions, reprogram subconscious beliefs, and manifest your dreams with ease. And Artsy utilizes VR as a visualization tool, a meditation space, and an avenue to continue her philanthropic work. Next, to the far right, to the far left, stage right, that is, we have Jeremy Nickel in the purple shirt and hat. And Jeremy is a reverend. He earned his master's from the Pacific School of Religion and an MA in alternative liturgical practices from the Graduate Theological Union, both in Berkeley, California. He's ordained a Unitarian Universalist minister. He served at the Mission Peak Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Fremont, California. And Nickel founded Sacred VR and also Project EvolVR, which EvolVR is very active in alt space, by the way. So this is a resource for health and wellness in the community in VR. And he's led meditation sessions and taught for over 2 decades in real life as well as online. And his interest primarily lies in exploring the intersection of technology and spirituality. Okay, so next to me is Adrian Driscoll. He's an award-winning director, storyteller, immersive event producer, designer in the entertainment and music industry, and a VR/AR expert whose work and vision has been featured in Forbes, Entrepreneur, Thrive Global, BuzzFeed, the list goes on. And he's worked with Oculus, Microsoft, Jaunt. He's also a humanitarian working to end homelessness in Los Angeles and worked with the United Way of Greater LA to create immersive 360 experience, educating people through the process of receiving supportive housing as well as getting inner city kids involved on VR projects. And his goal and focus is to focus on the deeper side of VR and mixed reality to destroy the stigma of VR being just for gamers. And lastly, but definitely not leastly, our other lady in red with the red hat over here is Caitlin Krause, and she is a renowned keynote speaker, a VR experience designer and developer, and founder of MindWise. Her work focuses on creating experiences that increase awareness, emotional intelligence, and breakthrough ways to collaborate and express human ingenuity. She incorporates research in creativity and neuroscience, design thinking, technology, communication, and media to promote compassionate, empathetic connections at a local and a global scale. She authored the books Designing Wonder, Leading Transformative Experiences in VR, and Mindful by Design. So everyone give it up for our speakers today, because, you know, we put a lot of work into this, and we really are here to inspire and invigorate the community and get this discussion going and keep the ball rolling. There's so much. It's just a really juicy topic. So we're going to go ahead and open it up to our panelists first. The first question is actually, everyone has a different interpretation of the word spirituality. So maybe we can take a few minutes to focus in on the concept itself. How do you actually define the word and your relationship with it, y'all? And we can go, anyone wants to go first?
How about the Reverend gets us started on this one?
There we
I
go.
had to like write a paper on this in seminary, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Reverend
you know,
Jeremy Nickel.
It's a slippery word. I think it's an interestingly slippery word, right? And so I'm glad you're asking us to at least go on record and state what we think it means. But, you know, I think it's a reaction to religious when I use it. And I think of religious as an institution that is historically set in a certain religious tradition and has offices and money and all this stuff behind it. And that institution holds some spiritual technologies, some prayer, some holy books, some different things. And I think most of us are really interested in just talking about, like, what the hell is going on? Like, what are we supposed to do with our life? What is, you know, my purpose here? You know, what does it mean to be a good person? And I think when you're diving into those questions and you're free from that institution part, you're doing that spirituality thing. You're in a personal relationship with those questions. You're not worried about dogma that you've had to take from someone else. You're just in your own place, trying to figure out your own stuff and finding some travelers to do that with. So that's what spirituality means for me. It's when I'm doing my own work and I'm, you know, in my own authentic place with trying to wrestle with those questions.
Perfect.
Hallelujah.
I think I could pick it up. I mean, that speaks to me so much, because I think of spirituality, and again, kind of like what Jeremy's saying, it's a big term, and I think about intersections between physicality, like the body, and the ephemeral, like the mind, and then the spirituality to me is this idea of what might be beyond constraints. Like, to me, the word connection comes up, connection inside, connection outside, between people. And I think what distinguishes maybe a human is we're these sentient, conscious creatures that are always kind of wondering about our own essence. Like, for anyone else who's been like me, and you kind of sometimes look in the mirror and feel like your physical self doesn't define you. Like, there's a lot more to explore. The spirituality realm gives us the chance to feel that freedom, like beyond the limits of ourselves, which is where I think VR and certainly immersive can play a huge part in helping that exploration about what's beyond limits. And yeah, I guess I would just pause there, because we could have probably the whole talk about what is spirituality, right?
Yeah, it's subjective.
Yeah.
That's exactly I think my key word for spirituality is freedom. Because I did a portrait series called Metanoia, and that being a spiritual transformation. And so for me, when I was interpreting it, it was a was a figure of a lady in chains, and she was breaking out of these chains, and then she morphed into a passionate ball of fire where something just ignited her, whether that's a passion for her art or a passion for her community or a passion for knowledge. And then it showed her jumping into this, air of, this luminescent light, because then she had now transcended the place where she was no longer trapped by the confines of the societal, you know, uh, contradictions of what life is, and bringing together both your mental and physical to kind of break free of what you think you can't achieve, and what's not possible. And I think there's also that level of wanting to sense that there's something bigger than yourself and something bigger than what you perceive, this is around you.
Hallelujah.
Yeah, yeah, that's wow. And I love this because it's such a beautiful dialogue. Like what the Reverend was saying about spirituality, like it for all this time it's been just this box, and it's like, hey, what's your religion? And to me, spirituality means that you're willing to be a little bit more of a student. You're willing to go out and explore and find for yourself, what is really going on. What does my version of God look like? And beyond that, saying, look, at the end of the day, we don't figure this out until we die. We don't know who was right. So to say, hey, this is all subjective. I'm not telling you that you're wrong for, believing in a flying spaghetti monster, or something that I don't believe in. Just because it confuses me or frightens me, I can't say without a doubt that I'm right. So that's what spirituality is, being that student, to me at least.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, praise the Lord, praise Allah, praise Buddha, whatever you call spirituality. I think that I kind of also would I like the word consciousness a lot, and I think that spirituality and the raising of your consciousness, and maybe people use the term of vibration, raising like a higher vibration, and I think that also has to do with your capacity to love, your capacity to relate to other people, your capacity to your ability to be empathetic with others and slow down and step out of yourself. I think that has a large part to do with spirituality, and also I think cultivating a sense of wonder and reverence for our world, right? And the art and the music, and even the horrific things that are happening. Like it's so scary, but we look at it as just this experience and this sense of awe and wonder, and maybe we're humbled, So I think that's all a part of it. So I'm going to move along to a second topic. By the way, for anyone that just came in, we want to welcome you and just take a minute to settle in. And we want everyone to feel really comfortable. So wherever you are, feel free to just sit back and relax and clear your mind and focus on your breathing and these words that everything we're talking about is just really from pure intentions. And we just really want to transmit some really, really amazing ideas and help you feel inspired. So the second question for our panelists is based on the fact that we are organic life forms, all right, but we're now turned into these avatars in these wild 3D environments, right? Or we're in front of our computers all day. We're surrounded with technology and increasingly more, especially just because of when our work, we have to move with the technology to even keep up with work and making money, right? So I'm also curious how we can stay connected to nature and the natural world and our physical selves, our organic selves, in an increasingly digital world. This is a lot of food for thought, I think. So whoever wants to start.
Oof. I like
It's a big
this one.
It's a
Yeah.
good one.
And I was literally just having this conversation earlier today, so that this is awesome. Like I caught myself like panicking, because I didn't have my phone, and I do this often. It's like you look at
Hey,
how
Adrian,
much you
can
hold
burst your voice.
Can I what now?
I want to hear what you're saying,
Oh,
and it's a little hard because I think you don't have the megaphone.
Make sure all the speakers
my
are on
megaphone
megaphone,
on?
by the way.
Yeah, the speakers have to do it
Alright, can you guys
themselves
hear me?
because they're. Yep, now we got you better. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Perfect.
All right,
Thanks for
sorry,
your
sorry.
patience. I just want everyone to hear.
No, thank you. So yeah, so I mean, I was literally noticing like I was panicking because I didn't have my phone for a second. We get so connected to this technology that as creators, we forget all of the beauty around us. Like, when's the last time like just stopped and like looked at stuff, like looked at nature, looked at the beauty of the world. It's like we want photorealism in VR. We have photorealism in life, like, and we don't embrace it and appreciate it. And I think we get lost in this have to go, and we forget to slow down sometimes. Like my wife looks at me crazy because sometimes I just go lay in the middle of the grass and I start earthing out of nowhere. And it's just and I had to explain to her the benefits and the power of it. 'Cause sometimes I'm just like overwhelmed. I'm like, you know what, this is too much. I'm an empath.
Yeah.
I see everything that's happening. It's too much. Go lay down and intentionally connect yourself, or you will be trapped in it. It will become the matrix to you, because it's if not, man, technology has what you said, the double-edged sword. So much potential, but it can be so damning at the same time.
There's absolutely no replacement in technology for good old vitamin D, right? Straight from the sun. Okay, so I have failed
You have
tremendously.
a nice VR tan, though, I have to say. You spend so much time in here.
I've failed tremendously this past year. This is my first year, like, where I spent an ungodly amount of time given myself completely to technology in a way that I haven't in my past. I was a portrait photographer for 14 years, and I primarily shot outdoors. And so when the pandemic hit and I wasn't able to do my portrait photography, I just kind of like just completely got lost in here. And like I had built parks,
a lot of us did.
Like I had built, outdoor, like water scenery in here. Like I've built worlds in here that I could have been experiencing on the outside, which gives me a bit of cognitive dissonance, because it's like I walk into Artsy's park and I feel like a relief. Like I feel like left, like the greater society of alt space, and I went to the park, and it gave me a weird sensation, because I felt like I would if I had actually just walked to the park that's behind my apartment complex. And I just remember one time feeling extremely overwhelmed in here and unable to find a place that felt safe. And I just was like, it dawned on me that I just needed to go outside. So I walked to the park, and I climbed up a tree and like sat in the leaves and just stayed there and embraced like what I was feeling in that moment. And I was like, this is something I can't create, like this is a creation that was made by somebody that's not me, and that's okay, and I should appreciate that. And I don't have to recreate everything that has already been done. So it's, for me, that waking up to the fact that, there's value in VR, there's value in technology, to remind myself not to forget how greater value there is in just the natural world.
Yeah, absolutely. That speaks to me. I think because so much of my work has to do with wonder and storytelling, I think a lot of our connection to nature is very elemental. And also, we might be at an interesting point in human evolution where we've started to kind of augment our reality with an impulse to narrate it, like whether it's taking a picture or posting on social media or doing something like did the experience did the experience actually happen if you didn't document it somehow and post it for others? And sometimes I remind myself that dropping into a state of awe and wonder usually happens when I quiet that impulse to narrate and I just experience live time with my body in nature and kind of surrender to that. Like surprises start to happen when I don't precondition what I'm going to be experiencing, if that makes sense. So sometimes I just set a certain amount of time. It could be really short, it could be longer, and I just go on these almost like discovery walks where I'm open and I'm looking up at the sun or filtering through the trees, and I start to think about that kind of lattice of leaf work. Sometimes I pretend I'm an alien dropped off of a spaceship. Like this is an exercise in designing wonder. Like how would an alien explain, something that's happening around you if you didn't have language in a traditional way? So I often try to hack my own impulses and stay curious and stay open and stay self-loving, because we all get disconnected from time to time, and I think it's natural, but just those simple reminders that my body is a creature of nature, and that I need to shake it up to break it up with some humor. It usually brings me back to myself, and I'm able to give more to my community, my social worlds afterwards. Thanks for the great questions.
Yeah. I don't know that there's a lot left to say after all that. I think one of the things I have trouble missing is when people build VR worlds, they're almost always outdoors. I mean, people don't build a lot of worlds where you spend a lot of time indoors, and the templates that Altspace gave us do that. We don't use very much. In EvolVR, almost every single one of the worlds we've ever built is about celebrating nature. I think this is a stop on the whole like spatial computing thing that's going to keep playing out, right? And right now we're in these goggles, and we're very much in a VR experience by ourselves in a room with lots of people in the world. But this isn't the final stop on this journey. And just look at what Pokemon Go did when it first hit our smartphones, whatever that was 5 years ago. The whole world was outside chasing these little Pokemons, right? So VR's going to move into spatial computing. It's going to be something that melts into your everyday, and it's going to get you outside. It's going to be part of your outside. It's going to help us connect more. So yeah, I mean, I don't get too stuck up in exactly how much it is an isolating physical experience right now, because I really think that's temporary. Nature is the best. Nature is my god. if I ever had to pick one, right, I'll go hug a tree. So that's where I'm always trying to get to, and I think ultimately the last thing I want to do is create something that is taking people away from connection with the larger world. That's what we're trying to connect people to. So,
You know what? I bring up this point to some of my friends who think I'm crazy because I hang out in VR a lot, and I am an outdoorsy person. When it's the weekend, I want to go hiking. I want to go out to the wilderness. But I equally love exploring the metaverse, and it's the complete antithesis. It is the complete polar opposite of the other, correct? Right? But, well, in here we still have the homages to nature, and people, I always feel like art on some way, shape, or form is honoring and representing the beauty of the natural world in so many forms. But isn't it funny how directly different it is to hang out in here, and how you can still have a deep reverence for the natural world? But one of the things I've been thinking about, and maybe people are on the same wavelength, as if we continue on this path, if we're hanging out in VR so much, like how do we help young people to remember how important it is to go out to a park and to actually be outside, and also that we are dependent on the earth to give us our food, to give us our clean air. We are not treating our planet properly right now, and we haven't been for a long time, and now we're seeing the repercussions, and it's fucking scary, okay? It's fucking scary. I live in California, and my beautiful state is on fire. And I'm saying I have personal responsibility. I'm a part of this just as much as anyone, from driving a car or, eating. I don't eat a lot of meat, but we all contribute here. But
Celeste, I really hear you on that. I mean, I don't know if everyone read the UN report that came out, a couple weeks ago, that confirmed what we've all known for a long time, but it was just really scary to see it put the way it was. Yeah, sorry, go back.
Nature. How do we do it?
So I think this is the tool. I mean, like I said, this is one little stop on it where we're all in these little spaces, but we're connecting people around the world, and ultimately our governments are not going to do this. I mean, they've shown that they are not going to do this. They're not physically capable. They're bought and sold by the people who are invested in pollution and mining and making an economy out of trashing the earth. What we need to do is create something that can fight back against that. And we are at the forefront of people who are literally in spaces with people from around the world every day. So I think that we need to be more intentional about flexing the power that we're starting to build in here. I mean, I've been thinking about this a lot, Celeste. It's been on my mind a whole lot. Like, what can we do with the muscles we're starting to build in here to try to change the things that our governments just are clearly not going to do? So, I mean, I think there's, the kids actually get it more than we do. I mean, the kids are pissed at us, rightfully so. In some ways, we just got to get out of their way. But I really believe, it's time for us to stop thinking the government's going to do it and start using what we have here to make changes.
I think that speaks to go ahead. Just the need for civil discourse. Like, I think there's more discourse in places like the metaverse, and I don't think it's binary. Like Jeremy, this idea of intersectionality, like people can come from different areas, different backgrounds, not be as siloed, start to hear. I'm actually a big fan of disagreement. I don't think that worlds all have to have people saying, oh, yes, I absolutely agree. Because I think that actually when people start to debate and solution seek, that's when maybe there's not as much of an agenda at stake, or, like we've talked about some of the roadblocks to getting things done. I think that younger generations hopefully can consolidate and have their voices be heard through having a connection to technology. And I think hopefully not to lose that connection, that visceral connection to nature, because it is so sacred. I think we can help mentor that relationship in a really caring way, because I know that there's a higher risk of like right now there are rising rates of stress and anxiety, and well-being is such an important metric for global wellness and happiness. I just think it's deeper than a country's GDP or people's just the new metrics for how we deem success. How do we deem that a place is thriving? Flourishing, I think, has to do with human care for each other. So hopefully that plays a part. And I know you had a lot to say, Artsy, so I'm passing the mic to you. Thanks. Thanks.
I think what you said was beautiful. I think mine is it's a two-part to this question. One is VR and technology as a super powerful visualization tool, and the other side being sustainability, as far as offloading some of the activities that we participate in the real world, offloading those into VR experiences to kind of cut out the impact of community and entertainment and stuff like that. So first one being visualization. I think that when I came in here, I automatically realized that from a spiritual and a subconscious psychological component, that VR is like the most immersive tool that we could use to transform the mind the very fabric of the mind.
Mm.
Because we know
Yeah.
how powerful visualization is. Not everybody is visual when they meditate, and so for me, building in here has been a perfect way to visualize and really encapsulated by your visions for the future. And I've seen a lot of people come with ideas of how to show in a bit, like in a world, in here specifically, like how our future could look. So it's like it's going back into the past, recreating the past and showing people how it was, and then moving them on a transition to how it could be in the future if we just come together. And I think that really lays the groundwork for people to have a communication and a dialogue about what's possible in your side of the world, So I think we're on a good path, and there are people coming into this space with that vision in mind. And I think bringing the younger generation into that will help them, like see and express through, the future of what we want for our world.
Love that. Adrian, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, please. And I totally agree. I think everything you guys have said has been phenomenal. I just think I should add that we as adults, some of us parents, you need to take this extra layer of responsibility. And I think there is this technology disconnect. We hand our kids a screen to keep them from bugging us, and instead of saying, look, this is a tool. And I think it's very, very important we use, virtual reality and all the other XR, until they add another letter. Like, this is just a tool to reconnect us. I was doing, have a tour that I run called Jesus VR. We teach Bible stories through 360 video. And like you said, not everybody's visual, so it's like, hey, this is, instead of reading the Bible, now we're going to give you this actual visual to, translate this into and embed it in your mind. Again, it's only a tool, and I think our bigger responsibility really is to say, hey, look, get out there. I'm going to drag you out into nature, kicking and screaming, let's go and let's get outdoors. Let's, I'm very indoorsy, so I don't like being outdoors, but when I do, I like to connect with the earth, and I think it's very, very important that we make the young people in our lives do the same in order to find that sustainability.
Yeah, sometimes you do. You kind of have to force it. Like, this is really for your best. And then when you're there, you're like, oh my God, I completely forgot what an amazing space we're in.
Right.
By the
That's
way,
exactly it.
Yeah, seriously, the wonder and awe, that is what it's all about. Actually getting out of cities and going stargazing. When do you ever get to do that? But do it at least a couple times a year, because it really is. It's just awe-inspiring. So hey, everyone here, I also wanted to include you, and so if anyone wants to chime in, ask a question or make a statement, if you feel super inspired, like Robo is our first participant. We're going to open it up to the crowd, and give me a second because I am still a little slow with the host tools, but let's have Robo chime in. Anyone else wants to unmute him? I cannot figure out how to do it.
Let's see here, Robo.
Robo.
Here, why don't we do you want to do the actual hand raising? That makes it easier.
I think that might make
it is on. So you see where it says raise hand? There you go, Robo. Okay, and you are on air, megaphone.
Hello.
Robo.
Hey.
All right, cool. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Great event. So one of my passions is research. I've been doing research for over 15 years. It was spurned by my interest in wearable computing. And what that led to is nonfiction research and writing, and actually I'm doing fiction stories, and I'm working with an international group called White Mirror. And what we're doing is creating a utopia. We're talking about, thanks. It's inspired by Black Mirror, the show. And what we're doing is taking, looking at, we call it science prediction, not science fiction. So we're looking at exponential technologies that we know we're on the cusp of. It's not imaginary. It's extrapolation. Extrapolatory. And we're creating stories that are working towards the UN Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. And you could check it out at whitemirror.live. And I find myself writing a cyberpunk story to interest people who are interested in cyberpunk and steampunk as well. And the purpose is to actually educate people about the subject of my nonfiction research. And so what I'm doing with this like cyberpunk story is I'm actually teaching people about the etymology of words like technology, robot, cyborg, cybernetics, and cyber. And when you look at the etymology of these words, you find that it all has roots in philosophy. Cyber goes back to Kybernetes and Plato and the ship of state, and really politics and how you ethically, run a government. And cyborg is about, in the definition originally of cyborg, it's about freeing people's consciousness by augmenting them subconsciously in order to free up their consciousness to think, create, feel, and explore. So I say cyborg is about consciousness expansion, and that you could also become a cyborg just by using a crystal or wearing a crystal. I'm very interested in transpersonal.
I want to take that information and also extend the conversation into, thank you so much, Robo. I want to extend the conversation into expansion of consciousness. Is what Robo is bringing up is so fascinating, and I think there's so much to play off of that there. We're going to bring in other audience participants also, but let's ride this wave of, like, how do we expand our consciousness more? How do we help the community do it?
There was this guy, like 2,500 years ago. He wanted to figure out a way to be released from suffering, and he had a whole journey to get there. And he discovered, he became enlightened. He discovered meditation, and we call him the Buddha. And that technology has been passed down to us, and it's become extraordinarily important. Well, he didn't have VR, but if he did, he would have taken meditation into VR, and he would have gone even further with it than he could have, right? He didn't have VR, so he did what he could with what he had, and what it turned out was this spiritual technology. It's not done. It's not finished. So, what my community is working on is saying, amongst other things, what can we do with this traditional spiritual technology that you could never do before? So we have, it's actually on hiatus right now because the last Unity update broke it, but we have for a long time had this beautiful experience called the overview effect, which we've known for as long as we've been sending astronauts up to outer space, that when you see the Earth from above, it fucking blows people's minds, like in all the best possible ways. It just rewires you in a way that we all want to be rewired, to like realize how connected we are and how the Earth is a system that we're a part of, and we're all mutually tied up in this important little network of, destiny and all that important stuff. To get it immediately, all the stuff we want to get. So we built this experience in VR, and it doesn't do everything that an astronaut gets when they're floating in no gravity and looking down at the real Earth. But it does some of it, and I think it does like more than 50%. It does 80%. It gives you a real experience of floating above the Earth with other people meditating. about the overview effect. And I guarantee you that the Buddha would have been into that. And he would have been showing us the way to all other kinds of stuff. So we need to use, technology. You were talking about etymology, technologia. It's about revelation, right? It's about how you reveal truth. That's what technology means. That's its etymology. And we can reveal truths now that have never been revealed before. We're so lucky. So, technology can be totally fucked up and evil, and tanks that blow people up, and napalm that burns our skin, and just the worst stuff. And it can be gorgeous. You should see what happens in our sessions when someone comes with some vulnerable stuff and everyone's throwing heart emojis in the air and we're crying with them and connecting with them and transforming ourselves together. So we can be the people who use technology to do that important, beautiful stuff. Because other people are going to make those first-person shooter games, and that's fine. But we need to do that other stuff too. So that's
Well,
my
how
spiel.
do we inspire? How do we inspire more conscious growth? Let's continue this conversation. It's so fascinating. How do we inspire it in others? How do we explain this technology so that it can catch on and help our consciousness?
I feel just drawn to throwing out those words again, wonder and awe, because the overview effect that Jeremy's mentioning really amplifies that sense of wonder and awe. And to me, there are many facets. The word wonder doesn't mean that I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. It can also mean that that you're doing a deeper level of conscious consideration, like to be minded. I know that Adrian was talking about that sense of openness and open to what falls in. Recent studies of the brain have shown that there's 2 human emotions that fire the strongest, and they're actually anger and wonder. So you've got awe and wonder on one side, and you've got anger on the other side of the spectrum. And people like Dr. Keltner, who's at Berkeley, he founded the Greater Good Science Center. I recently met up with him, and he was saying, I don't know anything about VR. Like he's really curious about technology. His lab does all of the studies about wonder and awe. And I think there's a convergence about to happen where, finally science can track some of the things that we've been feeling in our bodies for centuries. And we can have more understanding about what's going on the inside, hopefully building these conscious communities. So that's what's speaking to me in this moment.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that,
Caitlin. And I think what you mentioned the doctor in Berkeley, I think we need to expand our knowledge as creators and pioneers, other people who are doing this. Let's not just try to run the class ourselves. Let's try to bring the other teachers in, because they have insight and knowledge and ways to expand the minds in ways that we couldn't even fathom. But they're only used to this linear path. And as you guys know, VR is completely non-linear. It's like we could do whatever we want with it. So let's try to bring other people in. Let's set up these 5-10 minute meetings and blow people's mind with just what VR is, and say, hey, look, now use your gift to reach out further. I think that's the way to get mass consumption of this and really get people to the level that they ultimately could be.
That's
absolutely.
Yeah. The community building is definitely part, and I've had a real crazy week. So like
Burning Man should be
the past
crazy week.
year, for the past year, like I've been in here, right? I've been in here creating community and spaces that I've created, specifically Trevaday, was my first spiritual contribution to alt space, where I really wanted people to get outside of the, maybe just the physical things that they see in reality and virtual reality, but like ask themselves questions about themselves that they might not have asked before or had the opportunity to say out loud. And so I think from the small level, it's creating spaces in a space that already has a community that can benefit and grow, because what we're essentially doing here is like for hacking the consciousness, you know, like
hacking consciousness.
tapping.
That's a great term.
Yeah. And, but what happened this week is that I got outside of VR for a little bit, and I just got on Clubhouse. Like I've been on Clubhouse this entire, since it launched. But Clubhouse is the voice chat app that's been really popular. And I just said I spoke for like 3 minutes, a VR conversation, and I had like 50 people follow me after it, and then I had like 6 people book a tour of AltSpace, and then they tagged me in another room, and another room, and another room, and another room. So I've got like a massive amount of people that are trying to get in here to see what is going on in here. So I think having these spaces built, like these experiences built for people to come in and experience, like it's that word of mouth effect. Like,
and also with the right type of community leaders like yourselves, also with a looking out for the greater good of the group, and also working to inspire through art and creation. I'm going to wrangle the conversation back because we do have a couple participants in the audience, and I want to make sure that you guys don't go unheard. Paris, want to still say a few words? Is Paris out there? Paris Chilton? Is she still out there?
Armani and Grantman too.
Oh, Grantman wanted to say something. He actually, I'm going to put Grantman on because he's been jumping around and raising his hand, so he's obviously inspired. Grantman, you got the floor. You should be able to hear him. Oh, no, we lost.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Go for it. He is megaphoned. Oh, it's always something with tag.
Do we try Armani and we can switch back to Grantman in a minute?
Yeah,
see if that works.
Or switch back to Grantman once you get your volume figured out. So Armani, do you want to chime in here? We're talking about consciousness.
It's kind of a sort of different to the theme. I'll try to connect it here, but I work in the weather prediction community, and right now we see in our computer models are getting better, so we can see more of dramatic events further ahead, and so we deal with a lot of that ahead in advance of that. So I guess a quick question for that is how can we connect consciousness and technology and spirituality with recovery, and how to deal with that in terms of people who deal with dramatic events both ahead of time and after the event happens.
Yeah,
trauma,
I definitely,
you mean?
I got to work on that one. I mean,
dramatic.
I think the world is, you all know what direction the world's going in environmentally. I mean, we have not caught up with what we need to catch up with, and we've done some terrible damage that's not going to be fixed in time. The most important way you can equip yourself for the future, besides maybe learning how to cook with wood stoves, is to be non-anxious, is to be a non-anxious person who can bring a non-anxious presence to those around you. The anxiety spike just over the last year and a half from the pandemic has been unbelievable. Someone mentioned our kids. I think it was Adrian. I have a 10-year-old daughter. The kids are anxious. The kids are seeing these stories about the future that we're handing off to them. And so I'm not going to lie to anyone. I'm not going to tell a fairy tale to my kid that it's all going to be fixed and everything's going to be okay. I'm not going to lie to my kid. And so I'm doing my best to make a better future. I really believe that if you can work on your spiritual self, if you can find your spiritual center and know how to bring that non-anxious presence to other people, because that anxiety is not going anywhere. It's just getting worse. We're going to need to be the antidote to that. So, our meditation sessions, we talk about that a lot. We are not just meditating here for ourselves. We're meditating so we can bring that calm into a world that needs it so bad. So, you need to work on that, all of you.
Oh, I love this. Oh my gosh. Because it's so true.
Yes.
The anxiety is such a big thing, and a lot of it really comes down to the way we perceive it. We perceive everything. The way we talk, manifestation. You want to connect. If you change, and this is getting to my science shit, but look at light. There's no such thing as darkness scientifically. Only absence of light. You know, so if instead of every time you say something is bad, start saying how could it get better, then you teach these kids to start speaking the same way, you know, and they don't have that same level of anxiety. It's like, okay, well, look, problem. No, is the solution, you know, and that's going to help them get past that, because everyone's afraid. And when you're scared, you know, you have fight, flight, or freeze. Like, what are you going to do?
Fight or flight.
You're just, you know, stuck. Now we can breed a whole generation of people who are like, okay, look, I'm tired of this shit. Let's do something better. Let's just do something better. We need to breed the fighter, so to speak. You know, but it starts with anxiety. I think that's so profound. It starts.
It
with
is.
anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I think
if
it's
you're
important-
healthy and happy within yourself, first and foremost.
And that's where, like, when we talk about like the dangers of technology and the cataclysmic end of our species because of technology, I think it's important to realize that what you put out is either conscious or reactive. And so I think it's important to like get into a space where you're being conscious and you're being in flow. That's what I've experienced, and that's why it's been a double-edged sword for me going outside and getting fresh air, because I'm so much in my flow in here, you know, like I'm so
Flow
much like
state.
on a journey of just
Yeah.
creating that I forget that I'm anxious, you know, like that is, you know, that when you're being creative and you're being active and you're being conscious and you're being mindful, like that anxiety has no place, you know. And so that's what I want to encourage people to always be creating something, whether it's visual or musical or, you know, like creating new brainwave for yourself or a new path, you know, in your belief system. You know, like you can
Flow
create.
states of consciousness.
Yeah, flow
I
states.
know.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
really
like
is.
you can
Also,
create a
Grant
belief
Man,
system, you know.
Grant Man has been waiting very patiently, and I just want to see if we have his audio coming through. So Grant Man, do you want to test again and see, because he is really has something
All right,
to say.
there we go.
There he is.
Oh,
Yeah.
it works.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
Woo.
All right. So
Great.
this is my first time
Welcome.
here. So
Nice.
coming from my experience beginning as a beginner learning social monk is that there's a book in Audible called Think Like a Monk from Jay Shetty himself. He's a former monk and a public speaker and content creator on YouTube. 1,000 million views of him. And I want to mostly talk about what's about. It starts in chapter 1 about identity and goes all the way to about different meditations, visualization, chants from the Buddhist and the monks in the Indian culture. And that's what made me understand myself and ask myself, what have I been doing all this time? You know, it all started with that, and that's what caused this whole thing. That's why in chapter 2 we get to learn about how our negativity can destroy us. If we learn it as a tool, we can learn to guide us and learn in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I-
Even like Yoda said it in Star Wars, right?
I know. I think we're talking a lot about mindsets and about framing our experiences, and you know, not denying negative. Like I think, you know, I'm a realist idealist. I feel like we have to take what is and then say, okay, you know, whether it's responding to something that is traumatic and acknowledging it, but not letting ourselves ride that wave. It's really fascinating to me being in a group, in a community here where we're artists, we're really passionate. Like I can tell in people's voices and in all that they create that we care so much. And for me, that's the paradox. How do I put my full passion into what I'm doing, but not attach so strictly to outcome that I become, you know, kind of a cog in the system. So that's to me a spiritual kind of truth of life to constantly practice. It takes practice, like you know, at really framing the experience and practicing mindset, and sometimes just coming back to breathing, coming back to those simple exercises that in the midst of what can be challenging restores your your wellspring. So each person here, just know there are lots of tools that can help on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
Paris
I think
also
one
has
of the-
been
I-
waiting. I just want to say, if Paris is in here, because she's also been patiently waiting, and she's been up on this board for a while.
Paris is right in front of us in gray. I've been
Hello.
seeing you. Hello.
There we go.
Hello. Yes.
Hi.
Great name.
This is
Hi.
one of the best panels I've been into. This is amazing, you guys.
Yay,
Really cool.
great. So happy.
Oh, thank you.
I have so many questions. I don't know what. So mine's maybe a little bit off topic. I hope it isn't. I think Philip K. Dick said that either everything is a simulation or it never will be, meaning that in all the vastness of time, that the idea that we're just about to be able to upload our consciousness to a machine and a world is going to end, the chances of us being in that moment in history are really, really slim. So it's 50-50 whether it is or not a simulation. I'm at 50-50. I'm wondering if any of you guys, or maybe you'll nudge me a little bit more into either direction. What, you get my question?
Oh.
It is 100%. We are definitely in a
This is
simulation.
existential dilemma.
You know what? There's a great moment in South Park, and when they're like all in heaven at St. Peter's Gate, and they're like, "Okay, what was the right answer? What religion were we supposed to be?" And he's like, "Mormon," and they're like, "No way, come on." I don't know, Paris, and I think the cool thing is not knowing. Honestly,
Yeah.
like I heard
Mystery.
Adrian say before, like when we're talking about spirituality at the very beginning, it's really important to not think that we've got it all figured out. I don't remember exactly how you said it, but that's how I heard it. And to me, that is one of the most essential spiritual things that I try to hold on to. I don't fucking know. I have hunches. I have maybe something I'd like to believe or whatever. I'm into the simulation idea. I think it's got a lot of legs, and it's one that I have done a lot of research into, and really smart people have convinced me both ways. So I think 50-50 is a pretty good place to sit. But Caitlin has helped me concretize this for myself better than anyone, but I turn to wonder. I don't turn to needing to know for sure. Turn to wonder and curiosity. And it's so much fun to sit down with someone like Paris Chilton and just shoot the shit about what's going on and not pretend we have to agree perfectly or figure it all out or whatever. So I would just say, I don't know if it's a simulation, whatever this is, it's really interesting, and I'm going to keep turning to wonder.
Yeah.
And
I think my answer is
oh,
yes. My answer was just one word, yes.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
but think about what people say. It's like, can we be downloaded into robots? Like, it's already been proven the human mind is so much stronger in compute. Like we're here already. Like, this is just a vessel. This is a vehicle that we're in for, 100 years if we're lucky, or however long you're here. Like, and then we get downloaded spiritually into another computer. That's all I think this is. It's a repeating cycle until we've served whatever our greater purpose is. But I think it's already happened. I think we just have to change our belief of what a robot or a computer looks like.
I think it makes me wonder why we would need to know, like, what would change about your experience if you found out the truth? Like, if you found out that life was a simulation, what would you change about the way that you moved in life? And for me, like, when I came in here, like, it was such a spiritually transformative experience for me. I've actually never been more spiritual than I have been in the past year. And it's because I realized through these experiences with you guys that it doesn't matter. Like, we can jump from one multiverse to another, right? And if I'm with somebody in here and your avatar looks like this, and I can feel you, and I experience these emotions with you, and I fall in love, like with your essence. And then we go over to VR chat and you're a soup can, and I'm still in love with you, like I'm still, I'm still like, oh my God, like you're my person, like it's a very weird thing to fall in love with a robot. It's a very weird thing to fall in love with a cartoon. Very weird thing to fall in love with a soup can, and to realize that like whatever essence is behind that inanimate object is a real live spirit, a real life consciousness that's part of me, you know? And that's just, for me, I didn't need to figure it out. I just know that this is dope as fuck. And I want to continue.
I want to talk about the same topic is love in the metaverse, all right? Because this is a part of our spirituality. We're loving beings. We're sensual beings. We can only get off so much in VR, right? But who here has fallen in love with an avatar? Raise your hand if you've kind of got an avatar crush.
Yeah, if a crush.
I want to see. I want to see raised hands if you've actually fallen for someone that.
Sure.
Yeah. See, why not? Because you know what, you fall in love for the right reasons in VR. Maybe you actually fall in love with someone because of their actual personality and not just their sparkle pony good looks, right? So. You know, good for you if you've fallen in love with a soup can in
I've
VR
fallen in love a lot of times, and I continue to fall in love. And it's like one day I woke up and I was just like, wow, I am attracted to a robot.
Well, because here's the amazing thing about VR that none of us expected, or at least I didn't expect. I thought it was like fake people, right? Like, oh, you make a fake thing that looks like someone, and who knows who you really are, and you'll just be, you know, whoever you want. It's not real. It's the opposite. It is the exact 100% opposite. People come here and they're so real because they don't need to bullshit. Like you said, they don't need to pretend they're the beautiful sparkle pony or whatever. They can just be them. And people get real so quickly. It's almost disorienting. It's like you want to like protect your. Is this real? Like, could this be really happening?
Yes.
But in VR, there's this magic thing where, so yeah, of course people are going to fall in love because they're going to actually connect to people in a way that we never get to in the real world these days. We're so broken up and divided and separated and blah, blah, blah. But here, you get real with people and you get to see who they really are and not worry about all the other stuff. So absolutely, I mean, it's one of those things that's hard to tell people.
I want to bring the audience in also because we have a couple raised hands. So Ubi, do you want to chime in on the same topic? Are you out there? Ubi.
Yeah, I'm over here. I'm up here.
Hi, Ubi.
I just raised my hand because when you asked when you know, has anybody like I guess fallen in love or you know, like with an avatar and stuff. I know I have it. That's the only reason I raised my hand to say that. You know, I haven't fallen in love per se, but you know, I have had avatar crushes into where you know, I tell my friends that I've seen relationships form in VR where they met in VR and you're getting to know that person for their personality and or who they are, and maybe for their avatar looks, knowing that that's not their real look, but still, you know, that happens here, and I've seen it happen. That's all.
I think
I've seen a couple get married after meeting in here.
I DJ'd a wedding in the metaverse, and it was one of the coolest weddings I've ever been to, and it was so weird. But it's a testament of love, right?
Two of them,
I think this is a nice link too for me. I know I said yes to the question of are we in a simulation or is it real? You know, I think that something interesting is that the quality of attention, when you pay attention to something, that's almost the most precious commodity. And here in VR, you can actually really pay attention to somebody. Like I can color someone's emotions through the nuances of their voice. You know, they can describe to me something in visuals, and it's kind of like what Artsy was saying before. I mean, I could conceivably pay better attention in VR because I'm not in that same distracted kind of setting. So I think it's interesting. We could be in many different places and spaces here that let us have even deeper connection.
So far, you can't stare at your phone in VR, so you actually have to pay attention to the people you're talking to. It's a beautiful thing.
You're in your phone though in VR,
You're
right?
in your phone.
You are in your phone. With the headset on.
Yeah, well, everyone has that little nose hole peek, right? You get to try to look right through that little crack there and get a little bit.
So when people say, is this real? It's like, well, the time is real. I've dedicated my
Yeah.
time to being here right now. So to me, that makes it very real.
It's all an illusion. So I would say,
Yep.
actually, it's
Yep.
not real, but neither is anything else. But I think that's kind of what you mean, too.
Exactly. What is reality?
Right.
Would say
Is my
yes.
body real? I don't know. It's funny. We had a
Yeah.
woman who's a really well-known in Europe, a really well-known Hindu teacher, and she was talking about coming in to lead stuff in VR, and she decided not to because she felt like it was disrespectful to her body to take on this illusory form in here. And I just thought it was the most ironic thing I'd ever heard, because
wow.
I just think one of the teachings of Eastern thought and one of the points of so much of spirituality is like it is all illusion. That body is illusion, and the metaphor of VR, I think, helps us understand that better. It's just so obvious in here, right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, let's unmute the audience and let's all be together. So we can't all talk at once, but let's just let's have an experiment. Maybe we can even get off stage. Maybe let's form a circle to close out a little bit, and because we're getting on that time, it's about an hour and 20 minutes, and maybe we can just all kind of come together. Maybe everyone just feel free to join a circle around this record. By the way, we just want to actually give some props to Artsy because she built this beautiful world. We also have
Thank you, Artsy.
Afrogalactic.
Of course she did. Of course she did.
Afrogalactic.
Artsy.
Let's
Magic.
also pay respect to Afrogalactic. His name is Antoine. He's from Chicago, and he was actually the original architect that designed the Solar Shrine, which is this beautiful structure behind you. And this space, Antoine, do you want to say a little bit about the intention of the art? Maybe you and Artsy can talk about the world that we're in right now. You should be able to talk.
Yeah, Celeste, thank you. Very briefly, I love Celeste. She's collaborated with us on a number of occasions for different events.
Let's get him on megaphone.
He's got to put himself on. So if you pull up the host tools, Afrogalactic, you'll see a little megaphone there.
Right there. That's good.
You got it.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so thanks, Celeste. You're awesome, and this is a great event. So, and I am the architect and artist behind the Solar Shrine, which is a project that received an honorarium from Burning Man in 2020, and we thought we would go out this year because Burning Man was canceled last year, and then it ended up getting canceled this year. So we're actually working on building the physical structure here in Chicago. And the Solar Shrine is based on ancient Egyptian and Nubian cosmology, and it's really connected to the sun, also the ancestors at the same time. So it's at Burning Man next year, it'll be aligned with the sun to rise in the east, which would be 6 degrees north of due east, and basically the sun will go through the gateway. The gateway is 35 feet high, so it'll align with the gateway, and then it'll hit the disc, hit both discs on the gateway, and then the disc on top of the bark or the boat inside of the shrine.
This is some cosmic shit.
So the boat, and I'm gonna be very brief with you all. The boat and the disc, that's a physical representation of Ra, because in ancient Egypt and Nubia, our ancestors believed that Ra had regenerative powers and was the giver of life on Earth and creative universe. So, and the structure around it is more connected to our ancestors. This type of architecture in ancient Egypt and Nubia was called the mastaba, and it was like a place where you would bury your dead. So not only is it connected to the sun, it's also connected to the ancestors, because ancestors are reborn every day with the sun rises in the east, and then at night they die and they regenerate. So it's a little bit about the project.
Beautiful.
Nice. Wow. And Artsy, do you want to say anything about the world build and your inspiration? But by the way, this was a revision, a remodel, because we had the original Solar Shrine up until recently, and Artsy did a complete revamp. So do you want to talk about your intention and inspiration behind the new world while we're here?
Yeah, make sure. Last year, when we brought the Solar Shrine world into alt space, the vision was going back in time and putting the Solar Shrine in the ancient Egypt scenario. So there's big, tall ruins and Egyptian statues, the Ankh, and so it was really a place to bring the connection back to the past. And I think it's a good transition because we're now in the present, and Antoine has made this beautiful structure in the inner city of Chicago, which is desperately needed. And so it's also like that was a visualization of putting it back in the past and seeing its transition move across the timeline. And now we're in the future, Afro-galactic, Afrocentric future of
Wakanda.
And here it is, it's landed here, and we're surrounded by the new tech, and on an earth on a planet surrounded by all the goodness of what's coming, right? But also still rooted to our history and our past and our spirituality.
Nice. Well, okay, so we're going to actually wrap it up. But so everyone make some noise again for our panelists for coming and discussing and helping us to go deeper with all this, because it is a spiritual experience for so many people. And coming in using immersive technology for this, I've learned and grown so much in the last 2.5 years I've been in VR. My name is Celeste Lear, and I love to help bring the community together in ways like this. I'm also going to DJ deep house music for crew for the next couple hours. I'd probably go 2 hours. So feel free to hang out, bring your friends, and I'm going to play a little live guitar over my set. So be multitasking tonight. But so let's have everyone just close out. I wish everyone here an expansive rest of your week. I hope you guys leave here with a sense of wonder and awe. What do you guys have to say to our crew that came here?
Just what a great audience, and just remember that you got to take what we're doing here and bring it to the world, because we are the future, and we got to make it happen, because it ain't gonna happen for us. So let's do it.
Yeah, it's been an awesome night here. I've just really resonated with things shared on stage. Thanks to the fellow panelists, to Celeste for bringing us together, to the audience for just being so open. The word that's in my heart right now is freedom. Like, there's not just one way. So let's celebrate that as we form these communities that go beyond any sort of boundaries. Yeah, thank you.
I hope you all fall in love in the metaverse.
Yes, fall in love.
Love.
My closing remarks would be that technology isn't good or bad, it's neutral. And I think that as long as you are in a place in your consciousness and your walk and your spirituality, you can utilize technology in a positive way more than a destructive way, you're on the right path. And that these tools that we normally see as cluttering our mind actually be tools used to clear our mind. And so I encourage you to be in the flow of technology in your best life, your best self.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I just, man, thank you guys for all the love you shared. A couple things to remember is, nothing real. What's the term? Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Remember that everything comes in stride. It's all full circle. There has to be balance. We're built of positive and negative. So, don't be the delusional. Hey, it always has to be good, because there's good in the bad. You don't see it, but there is good in the bad. Read A Course in Miracles if you guys haven't. That book's my shit. Oh my gosh, like it puts so much stuff in perspective. But yeah, all of this, all the spirituality, all the religions, it should be rooted in love. Every tool that we have here should be rooted in love. So let's spread love. That's my hippie shit, and you won't hear it often from me. But let's let's spread love to each other. You know, you may believe this, you may believe that. Who cares? How do we get to the greater goal of getting along? And I think that's my final sense.
Love.
Bravo.
Exciting and new.
If anyone
Awesome.
from the crowd wants to shout out a couple quick words of inspiration, and then we're going to close this. Oh, wait. Before that, we are
Marsha.
going to give also a lot of respect and love to our camera crew, these little droids following us around.
Lots of love.
Lots of love, Carlos and Ryan,
Carlos.
Othello, and also we recorded this, you guys. We're going to
And
rebroadcast
Ryan.
it. So if you get in touch with me, also help us spread the word of the gospel. This is a really cool way to form workshops. This is also a carbon neutral way to have gatherings like this where we don't have to travel or drive. We're reducing carbon footprint just by meeting in here. And that's another really positive way to look at what we're doing. So again, props to our camera crew. And anyone just, seriously, I want to hear everyone just throw out some awesome words of inspiration. Let's just do it all at once even.
Props to Rat.
Freedom.
Love.
Marsha.
Beautiful.
Raspa, thanks for joining us. Yay.
Cupcakes.
Dancing with reckless abandon.
Yes, let's get some music.
Right
going.
there.
It's the only thing that can top this.
Okay, let's do it. I am going to jump up.
Thank you.
Yes.
The future.
I joined
We're
Patreon.
also, we have to remember we're
Right.
the past.
I love you all.
We have to
Oh,
leave
yeah.
lasting footprint.
I told people when they were
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, we are. We're the future and the
Hey.
past.
Nice to see you.
Right here.
Yeah, good to see you. I heard about you, and
I am my grandfather's dreams.
Well, right on. We could just talk to individual people now.
invited me to the event.
Yeah, because
Oh, beautiful.
I know, right?
Today.
Adrian, love what you
Nice
had to
job.
say.
Yeah, that was
Thank you.
awesome.
You too,
Adrian.
brother. Let me try to get let me try to get this
templates.
amplify off.
Oh, yeah. That's a good reminder to me, too.
What time did it start?
Creative.
An hour and a half ago.
How long you gonna be on?
And I never did in my life. And a lot of it has to do with space.
Is today Thursday?
Yeah.
I think that
Absolutely.
creativity is kind of like
I was thinking, I love
portal
Horse
to the next frontier of our
So good.
I
consciousness.
read that.
So I don't
I read
see
that.
it as a bad
Yeah,
thing at all
I read
that
it like
we
20 years ago,
spend a
that
lot
in
of
the
time
Four
creating in
Agreements,
here.
and I was just like, yeah.
Oh yeah, four
It's
agreements.
awesome.
I mean, that's what I share. When I share to people, I share like book list. Like here's a book that I read.
Yeah.
I'm such a nerd, but you know,
Glad you can.
Nice to meet
that's
you.
the way we're gonna help people. You know, that's the way we're gonna get out of it.
Absolutely.
Whatever.
Well, my
So
battery's
fun.
gonna be super soon, but I have your email I think through Celeste, so I'm gonna
hit me up anytime.
I'm gonna hit you up and
You guys are great.
see if I can get the three of us together to talk.
Yeah.
Let's start.
Let's
Sounds
chat.
great.
Artsy, we have to work together. We have to put you in on some collimation
nice
shit.
job.
We have to work together.
I want to start
It's
doing
long
that.
overdue.
You know what,
Yeah,
man?
absolutely. Artsy,
Yeah.
what you
Get
do
off,
in here is
man.
so amazing. We're so grateful for all this.
What's his name?
Yeah.
Chris.
Such a gift to
Oh
the
my
larger
gosh.
community.
Hey,
Okay, guys,
before we
I
all leave,
injured
do you
it.
guys want to
As
get
soon
a
as you
group
get off,
picture
man,
together?
just the one he's
We all
wearing.
Oh yeah,
He
for
down
sure.
trying to
and
see,
injured
like,
it.
That's dope.
He just
I
had
don't know how
eyes
to-
and everything.
I guess I could take a picture
I
of
was
this
like,
for you.
man, I
too.
wish Trey was. He took us to all of his world. Showed
Or any
us.
of my
Okay.
Evolver people here?
You had just got off.
Are any of my Evolver people in here? Do I got?
He gave us the game. Sashi
Chris, are you
Sash.
still here? Anyone?
What's up?
Oh, hi, Sean.
Okay.
Okay, how are y'all? Is it working?
We doing good. We doing good. We just trying to blend in.
Thank you.
No.
Jump right back on my headset.
Yeah, sorry. I was like,
Man,
You wanna move us around?
Yeah, let's do it now, Melissa, and then let's do a group shot.
Stay right here.
Yeah, if you stay right there, I think I can get
Okay,
everybody.
not moving.
So, oh, you know what else? You get a chance.
Get everybody.
I want you to come.
Nice work.
Yay. Awesome.
Please share it through the email.
All
It's
right.
Artsy. I'd
Yeah,
love to
please
share
share
it.
that. I
I will.
Awesome.
Can't wait to hear
Alright,
you,
guys.
Celeste. I'm gonna
Have a
go.
blessed night. Take care.
I'm gonna charge
You
up a little bit and
too.
come back
You
in.
too.
My stuff
Lots
ain't
of
gonna look right
love.
when I go stare at the screen.
Peace, peace.
Great
Artsy,
stuff.
what you shared was awesome. I just felt like everything from falling in love with the soup can. I was like, I know it's sort of absurd, but I'm like, something real and shell is. Like, yeah, totally. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. I love it. Perfect. Oh, and I love your hands. Your hands are like so open in the moment. So good. Yeah, that was a fun panel.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Really great.
Yeah. So yeah, get to meet. Well, we met at a party. Lisa, like probably last year sometime. So you're Robo? Good to meet you, man. Good to meet you again. Yeah. What do you think of this world compared to last year? Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Are you? Yeah. Ah. Okay. Okay. Okay, cool. Hermes Trismegistus, right? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. That's good. Yeah, I've studied a lot of Egyptian, and then Hermes is mostly like Greco, more like the Greek era, I guess you could say. I'm in Greek. I'm sorry.
He's the architect. He's the architect for this world.
Where? Which one? For Galactic?
I didn't notice because I was standing right by you.
He does great work, man. Oh my God.
Hermes, I've studied like insurance.
Right, so she finished that working with a team.
Yeah, right. Yeah, awesome.
Our group to bring our installation to the International Alchemy Conference in LA, and I was like, oh, well, I guess I should learn about alchemy if I'm going to be, bringing some art to the alchemy conference. And that was really what got me, starting to study alchemy. And I've heard about Kabbalah, since I was pretty young. And technically I wasn't allowed to study it unless I was 40 and married, and I ignored that fortunately and started learning about Kabbalah. And so and then my girlfriend, she's Reiki master and healer, and so she's very into tarot and astrology. We're both interested in astrology, so Hermeticism is kind of the pillars, or Kabbalah, alchemy, tarot, and astrology.
There's a long game.
And you said that you're Jewish?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel slightly more.
Yeah, I like the Kabbalah. I've studied some of it. I've got some books on it, and
sweet.
Awesome. Very mystical, a mystical tradition, whatnot. I was actually talking to a friend, she's Jewish, and I was looking for places in Chicago that actually that teach it, teach different courses in the Kabbalah. Like 20 years ago in Chicago, there used to be a place called the Kabbalah Center. It closed down, and I looked online. One of the only things I could find was like a place in like Israel that does some stuff, you know, online. But I'm sure they got places in Chicago. They've got a big Jewish community in Chicago, so I know that they've got people to study it.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Awesome.
That's cool, man. So are you an artist too as well? Obviously.
Yeah. I'm a visionary new media artist.
What are you doing?
Okay.
Good to see
Have you brought any stuff to like? Have you been to Burning Man before?
I have.
It's amazing in here.
Okay.
Wow. Were you at the whole time?
Have you brought any stuff to Burning Man before?
Dancing. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that installation in 2009. I didn't go that year, but they brought out the this installation where it was a musical Tesla coil in the middle, and it would play different solfeggio tone based music, and it was all designed to harmonize together, and the panels were the setup of the layout of the installation was like the fruit of life and the flower of life, and had a lot of iconography and.
I think I heard about that project.
He was doing the recording.
Sweet, the interactivation station was designed as the center of Lightning Temple, and Lightning Temple has presented, has brought work out. We brought work out to the playa. We had stuff around LA, and actually. Skyfire Arts grew out of that. And they're an international touring group. One of the people on my team went on to do visuals for Am Tobin, and a bunch of us learned about Arduino. One of our collaborators on that installation was nominated for Grammy.
If I step back
awesome.
Like this point.
Yeah, so our team is like thriving.
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's really
It's
good.
great.
It's the
It's
reverse.
awesome.
Did you get out to LA a lot?
Oh, you know what? You're right. Yeah, no, you're right.
No, I was there for about
you gotta
6
get on
years,
stage to hear it.
and I came back to Cleveland. Like really moved back in like 2013. I was here in 2011, but moved back to in 20. I've been here solidly since 2013. But I went to like elementary school and high school.
That's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
So I got
Awesome, man.
roots here,
Wow.
but originally from
Good.
New York.
Okay, what part of New York? New York State or New York City?
Sorry, what?
Yeah.
New York City or New York State?
I love it. Yeah, I grew up skiing.
I like lost some pieces of your word there.
New York City or New York State?
So I was born in New York City. And my parents lived in New York City. Then I grew up in Rockland County, like in the suburbs. And then after college, I moved to the city
In Switzerland, they
and
call
lived
it
in
the
New York City. So
Like they have opera
good,
ski
that's
parties
good.
and opera ski
yeah,
functions.
and I
Awesome, man. That's
visited
right.
the city a lot as a kid. Like my mom was an art teacher. My dad was an early adopter of computers. So when I was 3, in 1980, that was about the same time that my dad started getting into computers, and I started getting into computers. And so the fact that I do tech, I do tech art, is I'm really a product of my parents. I'm combining, my mom's art training and, my dad's interested in computers, and it makes perfect sense what I do.
100%. Are your parents still alive?
Yeah.
Cool. That's
They
good,
live-
man.
Yeah, they're about 45 minutes away.
It's good. Yeah, I lost both my parents some years ago.
happening
So
so fast.
good for you, man.
That's
It's really
great.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks.
I feel
Sure.
like
Brother, it's good.
more
It's
about
good.
that,
Like meeting you, man.
I'm curious
Very
too.
good.
I
Yeah,
think
great
it's
to meet you.
um,
I'll let you know if I come to Chicago. Hopefully we'll get that.
You know, whatever's going to make it nice and juiced up and loud. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's maybe not the hyperloop, but there's there's some talking pretty high speed.
the emotional,
This story that I
cognitive,
mentioned.
spiritual. It's like you can look at all these things.
I'm thinking about it in terms of like Great Lakes. Like the Great Lakes really has a lot to do with my story, and I'm setting the cyberpunk story, and it's really, bringing the setting of the Great Lakes into the cyberpunk story. Holy shit!
I'm at the burner.
Fuck yeah, you are.
It's going crazy, man. My whole camp is built. The self-storage.
Exactly.
We're taking pictures and 3D printing.
So great.
Yeah. Holy shit. This guy's on the fucking playa.
Oh wow, man.
Great to see you. Fuck yes. Yeah.
This is my friend Doug.
Fuck you did, dude.
Hello. And your name
Oh my god.
Hey, man, how many people? How many?
I'm saying this community is it been a part of Burning Man for 3 years?
3 years.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Just talking about this morning. My good friend.
Volume issue.
so much.